Hello, you all. My name is Ashley, and this is Royal Dominion Authority, where we walk by faith and not by sight. Listen, where we seek to add value to the lives of others, the way that the Lord add value to our everyday lives. You all, I just wanted to come on to let somebody know on today that just one touch from the Father, just one touch from the Lord will change your whole life. All you have to do is touch the hem of his garment and everything will be made new. So listen, you all. So just thinking about how the woman who had the issue of blood, she had the issue of blood for 12 years. She spent all her money on every doctor that she could think of. All of the funds that she had, she was just literally depleted, basically in almost every area of her life. But one place that she was not depleted in, one place that she did not give up in, one place that she was not dried up in was her hope that the Lord will do it. All she needed to was get in the Lord's presence and just to touch the hem of his garment, touch the hem of his robe, which represented healing virtue. And God is saying the things that you are dealing with or the things that you have dealt with and endured in your past, and sometimes your past, it still haunts you and taunts you, or things that you are still dealing with that still has an effect on your mental, on your psychological health, on your whatever it may be in your life. God is saying if you just touch the hem of his garment, if you just touch the hem of the Lord's garment, everything will be made whole. Your past will be your past. The things that you are going through, things that you are dealing with even now will be your past. If you trust, if you just put your hope on things eternal, which is the Lord and the healing power, and rest in the fact that when you decide, when you become bold and brave enough to touch the hem of the Lord's robe, that God will make all things new for you in your life. And I can say that because for a long time, I dealt with just knowing, just the fact and knowing that, what would you call, what, like, I don't even know what to call it, sexual abuse, right? I was sexually abused by a close family member, like you all. And for a long time, I was shamed. For a long time, I felt like I was guilty. For a long time, I felt like I wasn't worthy. And I did not hold anything towards this family member. I didn't hold no grief, no unforgiveness in my heart, because I had forgiven this family member. This happened when I was very young. So I did not know what wrongdoing was at that point in time. Well, I knew what wrongdoing was, but it wasn't a factor in my life because I was young, right? So the thing that the person had did to me, I did not know that it was the wrong thing to do until I got probably like in my early teens, or my, like, right when I got in my preteens or my early teens. But even then, when I found out what happened to me wasn't right, and that wasn't supposed to be done, I didn't hold unforgiveness towards that person. I actually began to look at myself, like, I began to hold like discontentment, unworthiness, shame, guilt, blame, all of that towards myself. So for a long time, I was walking around feeling like I wasn't worthy. I was walking around insecure. I was walking around, just feeling like, wow, towards myself. And I had to give my cares to God. I had to allow God to work through that. And by the time I was probably 16, 17, 18, I was good. The memory, because we're human, the memory never died. But the way that I felt about myself did. But it resurfaced. It came back up when I ended up going to school for psychology, right, you all? I was 19, 20, 21, 22. I think I was 22, and I rolled into a major in psychology, a BA in psychology. And the introduction to psychology really took me back to when I first, I'm not going to say when I first came out the womb, but it took me back to as far as I can remember as a baby being fed on a bottle, as a baby crawling around. It took me back to those stages in my life, and it had me to remember from those stages on all the way up until the age of 22 what I had experienced in life, what I dealt with, what I endured with in life. And then I fell into a deeper depression because the things that happened to me resurfaced back to me. It resurfaced back. What the thing that I thought that I put back in the back of my mind, regressed, put back, forgot about, it came back up because I was taking up psychology in school. Psychology has you to deal with or resurfaces things that you've already thought that you dealt with, and it comes back up because you have to deal with those things. And so I said all that to say this: there comes a time in your life where you really have to deal with your issues. There comes a time in your life where you not only got to deal with your issues, but you have to give your issues to God, because if you don't, your issues is going to take you out, you all. Listen, I am a living witness to this. A living witness. I'm talking about I'm blessed because I wasn't how can I put this? I feel like everybody is blessed. If you living, if you got breath in your body, you breathing, you living, you moving, you got come on, you blessed. But I feel like personally God blessed me in a way that I didn't have to check myself into a mental health hospital, a mental health, because it was times where I thought that I wasn't going to make it, you all. But when I tell you it was nobody but God, nobody knew that I was sexually abused from the age of 7 to the age of 9. Nobody knew that but me and the person who abused me and God. So I never talked to this person about this until probably like a year ago. I asked the person, did they remember what they did to me? And they was like, yeah. They explained themselves and they apologized and they asked for my forgiveness. I said, I been forgave you. I just wanted to know if you thought about it, from time to time. And that person was like, yeah, I did. And, I believe God has forgiven me as well. And, it's only up from here. But nobody was with me but God. I fell into an early depression from the age of, I believe, 12 or 13 all the way to like 29. So I was depressed for a very long time, you all. And when you're depressed, you just don't deal with just being depressed. You deal with everything that comes with what made you depressed. So you have to deal with all these different demons. You're fighting all these different thoughts. You're fighting all this mental anguish. You're fighting every perception that you have of yourself, the perception that people may think of you that may not even be true either, So like I said before, I'm saying all that to say this, that whatever it is that you're going through, nothing is too hard for the Lord. Whatever it is that you need from God, nothing is too hard from God. But you got to give your issues to God. Like I can stand here today and say that God really carried me. The footprints in the sand, the footprints in the sand, like that big, it used to be like a big picture that our parents would have on the wall. It was like God, it was the footprints that came before us. The Lord was carrying us through the whole time, and when we come to the understanding that when we give our cares to the Lord, there will be peace, there will be hope, there will be a restoration, there will be a renewing of the mind and of the spirit. Like our life will be so much better. It would be so much easier, as a believer, just as humans. Life was never promised to us as like you won't go through no trials or tribulations. But when we give our issues to God, those trials and those tribulations by and by will become easier, so to say, because we know that we don't have to worry. We know that we don't have to live with the weight. We know that we don't have to live with certain issues weighing us down. We know that we don't have to give our energy to our circumstances, but we give our circumstances to God. We give our energy to God and let God double back on those circumstances and go back and correct things, right? And so whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's molestation, whether it's abuse, whether it's addictions, whether it's a healing, whether it's sickness, whether it's unforgiveness, whether it's hurt and disappointment, whether it's heartbreak. I've been through that too. Heartbreak is a mother, okay? I can't say the other word, but heartbreak, it don't feel good. It don't feel good. I've been through that as well. You know, like I was just telling God the other day, that I don't even know why this even brings me to tears. But that's why we got to give our cares to God so that God can do what he needs to do. But I was just telling God the other day, like, God, I've never had nobody to love me. I never had nobody to be faithful to me. I never had nobody to be loyal to me but you. Like, as far as the opposite sex in any relationship, I've never had no real relationship. And I've been single for 6 years, 7 years in celibate. I've been single and celibate or abstinent from sex for 7 years. You all, the July the 15th will make 7 years. And before those 7 years, before I became single and abstinent, when I was in relationships, when I was in the world in relationships, you know, I've never had nobody that was just content with just loving me. Like, I've never had no real man in my life to love me. So this next person who come in my life, I know he's going to be sent from God because I waited, you know. But God will give us what our heart desire if we put our whole trust in him. God knows that we're going to doubt. He knows that we're going to be uncertain. He knows that we're going to ask questions. But he still wants us to trust him enough to give him our issues, give him our concerns, give him, you know, the matters of our heart, the issues of our heart, so that he can work it out. Listen, trust God and know, be still and know that he is God. And whatever it is that you're dealing with, give it to God. If you can just press your way and touch the hem of the Lord's garment, your past will be your past. The things that you're dealing with now will be your past. You will be able to look back and be like, I know God did it. Right? More to come soon. I'm in the kitchen, you all, cooking orders and stuff like that. So I can't really talk like I want to talk. But I just wanted to come and encourage somebody on today. Give it to God. Amen.